We're at Studio 18 in the Pines, and with me is Robin Vegas, who's the arts coordinator for the city, and who has put together a show of all Studio 18 artists.
That's correct. 6 of the artists from Studio 18 are in this show tonight.
It's a great show.
It is. It's very different from what we normally have. I think there's so many different medias in this show, it makes it kind of unique.
And also it's called Transitions, and because they have been around here for a while, you can see that they have transitioned.
Absolutely. I think 4 of the artists have been here since the beginning, and looking at their work now and, seeing their growth over the past 3 years has been really special for me. So
yeah.
It's a really wonderful capsule of how they've grown and where they're heading.
What direction they're going into.
Absolutely.
It's lovely.
Thank you.
And so what else is happening in the city?
Well,
you're so busy with art in the city.
Saturday, we're unveiling a public art at River of Grass, the Susan B. Katz Theater, which is on Sheridan and 172nd. It's a mural mosaic on the outside of the theater, and we're really excited to finally unveil it. So it's going to serve as a great place marker to find the theater. So that's something going on.
That'll be great.
And we're also working on a fence art project. We're going to put large-scale paintings on the fences on University and Pembroke Road here, encircling the Howard Foreman complex. Those are going to be unveiled on February 1st, Saturday. So that's going to be a breakfast reception here from 10 to 12. That project was sponsored by the Arts and Culture Advisory Board. So Herman Friedman came up with the idea. He's a art board member, so I can't take credit for that one.
He's the idea man.
He's the idea man. So it's exciting.
So you're a very busy lady.
I'm busy.
Yeah. You're doing a great job, Robin.
Thanks, Elaine. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
It's going to be fun. And this show is going to be here until when?
February, I think, 13th.
Okay, so come out and see this show at Studio 18 in the Pines. This is such a great place to hang a show. You really enjoy walking around and seeing and talking to the artists because they're right here in those studios. One of our Studio 18 artists who certainly has been transitioning is Deborah Cassavetes. And Deborah, I love the new work.
Thank you so much. I transitioned into a new material, which in this case was hand mirroring objects that people have thrown away. So in this case, it was old plates and platters and things of that nature. And they start out clear and then go through a process of adding tin and silver to them and then using images I've collected over the years to talk about this theme.
Isn't it nice that you're transitioning as well as the show? You keep growing as an artist, which is wonderful.
I think you have to keep growing when you're an artist, otherwise you get stagnant. And if it's not fun anymore, it's not worth doing.
You just keep having fun.
Thank you, I will.
It's nice to see the Studio 18 artists transitioning and growing. And here's another one. Anna Rivera also has transitioned perfectly from what you were doing to these lovely pieces. How did that happen?
Well, actually, you point at I was doing something before and this is after. Actually, this is before.
Really?
Yeah. If we see the dates, this is like where I start painting. I start painting watercolor like 20 years ago. And I did it just for fun in the beginning. And then I started using my images of my watercolors as objects to sell. So I was doing corporate gift with them, with the images of the watercolor. So I still have my original watercolors. And these that you see in the wall are actually prints of those watercolors. And the very first one was in the year 1994. So this one that you have here is actually my very first oil. But in this exhibition, I wanted to work from landscapes to landscapes, and that's why I decided to do this series of landscapes
And
for the
so
exhibition.
different they are from your beginning.
Exactly. Well, that's to mark actually the transition, that
And
the meaning
this-
of the exhibition.
This is your country.
This is my country. This is El Ávila, that's Caracas. That is like an icon for every Caracan people. So it's like whoever is from Caracas, Caracas is the capital of Venezuela, and whoever is from Caracas knows that mountain.
Yeah.
Then I have some other places like Puerto Rico, and then I have Colorado and Utah. And I can go further, but those are the ones that I did.
And when are you doing Miami?
If I found a good
A good
spot,
place.
because I have seen very beautiful landscapes, yes, but actually sunsets, beautiful,
Yes.
but it's not showing me the place, and I want something that shows the place.
Yeah.
So I can work Everglades, might be Everglades, or any
Might be
beach,
Miami Beach.
Hollywood Beach, that is beautiful, or I can go a little north. So
Well,
I will see which I'm going to
Whatever you do, you're going to be growing, and it's nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, Anna.
Thank you.
This is John Anzac, who makes these absolutely magnificent pieces. Tell me how you start these.
Well, I start out, I take wet clay, I roll out slabs. I let the slabs dry to what we call leather hard consistency. It takes about 6 to 7 hours, and it becomes like a stiff cardboard. And then I cut out the shapes and put it together.
You don't use a kiln.
Well, yeah, I put them together, and then once I dry them, now pieces like this take a long time to dry because there's a 14% shrink ratio on this piece. So this piece was actually about this big when it started. It shrinks down, and then I put it in the kiln, I fire it to a 04, which is a bisque. It comes out of the kiln, and at that point, then I glaze it. And I put it back into the kiln, and then I high fire it up to cone 6, which is right around 2,230 degrees. And you get this phenomenal piece of work. This was a very, very difficult piece. There was numerous steps. Once again, this is used slab on the side here. Then it was coiled up, and then slab pieces were put on to make the points.
Yeah.
I made this piece
Beautiful design.
one before it, and it didn't work out, so I remade it, and I'm very, very pleased with this piece. It was definitely the most difficult piece I've ever made.
It's a beauty.
So it is one of my favorite, and I love the way the lights twinkle off of it.
Yeah, it's graceful.
Like a diamond.
John Anzac, thank you so much for allowing us to see your work. It's a joy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
This artist is Angela Padrone, who has been working in batik. What is batik?
Well, batik is a very old method of using wax, resist, and dye on fabric. So basically, I draw out my picture on fabric, on cotton fabric. I melt wax, paraffin and beeswax. I paint it on the areas that I want to keep white, and then I dye it in a dye bath of color. Once that dries, I keep going with all the colors until I end up with these works of art.
It's so nice that everybody in Studio 18 works in a different medium.
Yes.
It's all,
Yes, and
you
I
know.
think that's what makes the place unique, is that everybody has their own style of doing things,
Yeah.
so we get to admire each other's talent.
nice.
Yes,
It's nice.
thank you.
So thank you, Angela.
Thank you very much.
This work belongs to Michael Harris, who is basically a wood sculptor, but his work transitions from drawings to the wood. So these are your drawings.
Yes, yes.
And that's how you'd begin.
It transitions back and forth. Sometimes the sculptures first, and other times the drawings first.
So you don't use this as a sample for what you're going to do?
No, it's sometimes. This one actually was drawn first before the sculpture, but I like to play with the feel.
Where is this?
This is in the Everglades, south of Naples, Marco Island area, down in the wilderness waterways, that area.
And so all these 4 pieces that are on this wall transition into those 4 sculptures.
Correct.
So which one is this? Which drawing?
This one is the far blue and green one at the end also.
Oh, that's right. There it is. And are they all the Everglades?
Oh, yes, all 4 of these are. Occasionally I will do other areas of Florida, but these particular 4 are the Everglades.
That's your passion.
It seems to be.
Michael, the work is really lovely, and it does transition. It's coming along. It's more delicate.
Yes.
It's smaller.
Yes. Yeah, it's still being small and delicate. Just about the same amount of work, just lighter.
It's not about how much work there is, it's how good it is.
Right, that is true. That is very true.
And they're very good.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, thank you, Michael Harris.
Thank you.
And this is Dawn Behala, who does these wonderful paintings and drawings and a lot of pencil work. I love your pencil work.
Yeah, it's primarily what I focus on. I sort of shifted tracks a little bit on this show and decided to do a little bit of both, some pencil and some watercolor, and some sort of embellished watercolor for this. When I first started out on this series, I was working on this particular piece, the graphite one, and knew that I wanted to do a series of ballerinas for, I was meant to be in the July show. And I started experiencing some fairly significant health issues. As I was working through this series, I sort of noticed a parallel between the beauty and the pain of creating art. And obviously...
And the beauty and the pain of creating ballet as well.
Yes, and that was sort of, I could see, in the muscles and everything that just must be very painful. And I myself was experiencing pain, but I continued working through the series. So when I realized at some point I started introducing black into some of the muscle areas of the ballerinas where I could see that pain. And it wasn't really a conscious thing. But then when I clicked into it, then I went, hey, I'm going to show the beauty and the pain, and then coming through out the other side. So that's why we have the blue dress here, which shows just the beauty of the art form. When I finished these 4 ballerinas, I decided I was going to do a second dress, but that I was going to embellish it with
the painful dress.
Yeah, exactly, with painful objects. So, I went out to Home Depot and I bought, razor blades and box cutting knives, X-Acto knives. And then I went into a seamstress store and found these, corsage pins and these T-pins and anything that looked
painful.
Like it would hurt you, And even, in the, which a lot of people don't notice at first, but in the sort of the creases of the dress, I put these very sharp saws and stuff. So it was sort of my way of showing the pain that's behind.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Well, I hope that some members of the dance community will come out and look at the series because it really is a tribute to them. I really sort of got an appreciation for their art form in completing this series, and I saw it through some very difficult things I was going through, and made it through to the other side where we ended with again a lovely piece in graphite, and so this series is a lot of meaning for me.
So what do you think of the latest art exhibit at Studio 18 in the Pines? It's beautiful work by some lovely people who are studio artists. And it's definitely worth seeing. So come on by. We're at the Howard C. Foreman campus. And you're going to enjoy the hours that you spend here. For OCTV, I'm Elaine Kugelman, and thank you for joining me today at Studio 18.